Stop avoiding your vision. We all have some sort of vision for ourselves in our lives, and most of those visions come with roadblocks, and honestly only a few are actually willing to face those roadblocks. Others avoid them. The avoidance could be in the form of excuses, self-doubt, or distraction, and we all know the forms of distraction that society as a whole faces nowadays. The first thing we need to unpack is what is avoidance. Okay, we can start with porn, video games, TV, scrolling, girls, etc. I kind of want to change the way these things are looked at. I mean, yes, it's a distraction for sure, but what lies behind an intentional distraction? Like, if you're intentionally distracting yourself, what is it called? It's called avoidance. For example, when I was in more of my awkward stages in life, and sometimes I still do this, I'll be honest. When I used to walk past somebody I just talked to, or walk past a coworker I didn't really want to talk to, or somebody at school, I would just kind of distract myself with a task of some sort to avoid an awkward eye contact or an awkward exchange. And I guess that's kind of normal because a lot of people do that, whatever. But nowadays we tend to do that with our lives, our dreams, and our visions. When you pick up your phone and you indulge in these empty-headed activities, what are you running away from? You're simply running away from your problems, the problems that need solving and the problems that block the next step to progress towards your vision and your lifelong goals. Even me a couple days ago, bro, like I mentioned, I'm rebuilding my whole website for my beat business, right? And holy fucking shit, there were so many problems that I faced with that, man, like domain transfers, automated emails, and page directories, boring ass shit nobody wants to fucking hear about. But yeah, and all that shit was pissing me off. There's so much problems, and I'll be honest right now, there were so many times where I tried to avoid those problems, and there were so many times where I did avoid them, right? I would just kind of say shit like, you know what, let's just check Instagram. You know what, let's screw it. Let's just do some outreach instead. That'll be a little bit more productive. But what's the point of doing outreach if they don't have a good website to go to? And then I was like, well, let's just watch a movie. We've been at it for too long, or I'm hungry. Like, bro, none of those things were true, or none of those things were needed. It was simply just my brain trying to run away from the roadblocks that stood right in front of me. Like, bro, the vision is to build a website that converts sales, right? So why the fuck would I sacrifice my vision and avoid the roadblock for a good feeling or scrolling or whatever the fuck it may be? Why would I do that? Now let's unpack how to stop avoiding your vision. I can honestly just say you avoid your vision because it's scary and you need to overcome your fears, but that's what every YouTuber says, and I'm not every YouTuber. So the first thing you need to do is understand what happens if you avoid your vision. Like, you made a promise to yourself, whether that be getting your dream body, building a business, and hopefully you have reasons to why you're doing all of those things. Like, honestly, you could want to build your dream body to flex on your ex, or to show off to the people who called you fat or skinny. Or if you want to build a business, you probably want to retire your parents, or you probably want to help the less fortunate and build a good life for your future family to live. If you continuously avoid all those things with empty-headed activities, then you just throw it all down the drain. Like, if you told your mom you want to retire her, but yet you spend hours on social media, hours watching porn, hours watching Netflix, then you lied to her fucking face. Or if you avoid the pain of not satisfying your desires for sugar, then the next time you see your ex or you see your homies, then they're not going to say a word. You're just still going to be that fat motherfucker, G. Simple as that. Next thing you need to do is understand if your vision is even yours. A lot of people do what they do in their lives, either for the satisfaction of their parents, or to meet the expectations of society and social media. I watched a video where this guy ended up building a whole business, or he was in the pursuit of building a business, right? And he went through years of crying and depression because he was like, he was after all the views, he was after all that shit, and when he was hitting the low points, he was just crying, he was depressed. And then a few years passed, or like, I don't know how long it really was, but then the business ended up taking off, and guess what? He dropped it. The only reason that is because he wasn't necessarily chasing his vision, right? He was chasing the vision of what social media expected him to chase, the success, the money, and all that stuff. It wasn't for him. Make sure you're doing what you really want to do in life, bro. Like, I'm not saying avoid paths, but like, for example, like, if you know that going to college and getting a degree won't equate to a life that you desire, then you better grow some balls and tell your parents, or you're gonna end up living a life that you don't want to live, and it's gonna be a really fucking sad one, bro, because you're gonna lose a lot of time. But again, that's if you choose to look at it like that at the end of the road, but that's a different topic in itself. Just make sure your vision is yours, because if not, you'll actually spend a lot of time doing other things that are distractions, right? Because you don't want to face it. It's not even your vision. Why the fuck would you want to go do something that's not even what you want to do, right? And the next thing you need to do is, again, ask yourself why. When you pick up your phone and start scrolling, ask yourself why. Is it because you have nothing to do? Okay. Why don't you have anything to do? Sit on that for a few days and make sure you have a Google Doc open. Love you. Start off tomorrow strong, G. Peace.